What up, fight fans? So we are at this road once again. We're here every year, and the topic always comes up, whether you're a casual fan or you're a hardcore boxing fan. Mayweather Pacquiao. We've been hearing rumors, we've been hearing talks. I've purposely not have made a video because, again, I've had discussions with people, and we've been down this road, and we always get led down the primrose path, as the saying goes. But I gotta say, more so than any point in the last 3 to 4 years, I think there is a very realistic or a high possibility that this fight finally could happen. There's several things, and there's things I'm looking at, and I have my opinions as to why the fight hasn't happened and why I believe it will happen. And before I say anything, I want everybody to know that I am not a pro Mayweather guy, a pro Pacquiao guy. I'm very neutral. I've called faults on both guys, and none of this is directed to either fan base. This is just my opinion and the way I see things as of the end of 2014. So we've seen Pacquiao twice this year. We've seen Floyd twice this year. Both fought fighters that they were both favored against. In the case of Pacquiao, he was in a rematch with Timothy Bradley, and looked just, I think, about the same, if not a little better than he did in the original fight. And he got the decision I thought he should have gotten in the first fight. And then with a guy like Chris Algieri, I saw the fight as, or I predicted the fight as I expected to go down. Props to Algieri for hanging in there, but a total domination by Manny Pacquiao. And then with Floyd Mayweather, he had 2 fights with Marcos Maidana, in which the first fight was a tough, grueling fight that he, something edged out. I had him winning like 116, 112, and then in the rematch, it was a wider margin, a less eventful fight, though he did get visibly hurt in the end of that third round. So we're at the end of 2014. Both guys have pocketed anywhere from 20 million to 40 million guaranteed a fight, more so with Mayweather. And neither guy, or I should say, at least for the case of Floyd Mayweather, he pulled in a big pay-per-view date with Canelo Alvarez that did a 2.2 million buys, and to this date is the biggest gate, or the biggest pay-per-view per the cost of pay-per-view in 2012 or 13. When you talk about a 2.2 million buys as opposed to the 2.4 that he did with Oscar De La Hoya, still obviously big money. With Pacquiao, you've seen a decline in his pay-per-view sales, but it's also in touch with the guys he's fighting, that aren't big attractions. Now Floyd Mayweather, I think it's widely known he's always been the bigger draw in the case of pay-per-view, and he has gate records, as does Pacquiao too. But I think they're both at a point of their careers where they're at the end, and neither guy, or I should say both guys, have really exhausted every potential fight that they can make that will be an event, a big event. Mayweather did have the Canelo fight, and he had the Cotto fight prior that hardcore fans and boxing fans in general were interested in. And then with Pacquiao, he obviously hit some bumps in the road with Marquez, and came back, beat Bradley, and beat Brandon Rios, and just recently beat Chris Algieri. So these guys are really out of big time opponents, and when you look at the trend especially, you know, Floyd being a guy who was averaging 1 million pay-per-views, and at one point Pacquiao kind of was too. You see the trend, you know, their sales have gone down because just the consumer is not getting what they want. And from the talks and the rumors about the money that's being thrown around, and I have to say that I believe there's actual negotiations taking place. I mean, I think we're kind of past the notion of that being a rumor. You know, Bob Arum already met with Leslie Mooms, the CEO of CBS, and they apparently had a good meeting, according to Freddie Roach, who was a third party there. And I think whether people look at it as desperation on the part of Top Rank and Manny Pacquiao and Bob Arum, you know, they are obviously admitting Floyd obviously would get the lion's share at this point. You know, and I, again, the reason I mentioned desperation on the part of Pacquiao is they understand that this is the last opportunity for them to make the money that they could potentially make with Floyd Mayweather. The rumor right now is Pacquiao is looking at a potential $60 million guaranteed with, you know, with a 65-35, 70-30 type of pay-per-view split, which for Pacquiao is still a record number. And when you look at Floyd's end, it's a record number for him too. So, you know, on paper, if you're looking at it, consensus should be what would be preventing this fight from happening now. You know, and it really does come down to, I believe, you know, I don't think the blood test is going to be an issue, and it's something that neither side has really barked about in about 2 years. And Pacquiao's doing VADA testing, so I really don't think that is a sticking point now. But just like I think from 2010 to now, money's always a big issue. So I really don't see how Floyd, or why Floyd would turn down anywhere in the field of $100 to $110 million. And I'm talking about guaranteed money. I'm not talking about what he's going to make when all is said and done, because with the outside investors that are looking at this fight like something to eat, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, these sponsors are looking at this fight like a major bread maker, and I think something catastrophic would have to happen for this fight not to be made. And as far as Bob Arum and Floyd Mayweather's relationship is concerned, listen, man, like I've had experience with people who I've had grudges with in the past, or vice versa. Floyd Mayweather and Bob Arum have not done business or have not worked together in 9, almost 10 years. You know, and I think at this point, man, I think both of them can really just break bread for the biggest fight monetarily in the history of boxing. I mean, like I said, man, there's been situations just like this, be it promoters feuding or networks feuding, and they got it done, man, just because there was too much money involved. This is the same scenario. Bob Arum and Floyd Mayweather obviously have a history, but I don't think enough to prevent Floyd from looking at a $110 million fight and say, nah, you know what, I'd rather take a $40 million fight with a potential Amir Khan fight. Now that brings in another predicament, and I'm making this video right now the weekend before Amir Khan versus Devin Alexander. And I am on the boat of believing that nothing has been mentioned on the part of Floyd Mayweather, and you know, obviously Pacquiao's team is not mentioning as far as like how close the fight is to being made, but you got to think that Amir Khan is a nice little backup plan for Floyd Mayweather. He's guaranteed $32 million minimum to fight whoever he wants on Showtime, and you know, Khan could be that guy. But what if, you know, again, I'm making this video prior to that, you know, that fight happening. What if Alexander beats Amir Khan? What if Amir Khan doesn't look good and squeaks out a win? One of the major sticking points too, and again, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I don't favor either guy, okay? I never have. I think there were points where I saw Pacquiao was at a point where I was like, this may be kind of dangerous for Floyd, and vice versa. But when you look at both guys going into the fight, and I made mention of this on the GYGB podcast every Tuesday on 9:30. I made mention of this. When they are both, let's say potentially, facing each other, corner to corner, bell's about to ring, I don't think there's any argument that can be made that Floyd Mayweather has a hell of a lot more to lose than Manny Pacquiao. And I would say even now, more so than if you were to fight him 3-4 years ago. Because let's just say potentially Floyd lost like 3-4 years ago. I don't think it would be as detrimental as him losing like his second to last fight. I think at the same time, man, and this is my opinion, and Floyd can end up proving me wrong, hopefully not, but I don't see how he's gonna turn this fight down. I really don't. I mean, I think they're at a point now where they see that Floyd may be realizing that he has to share the bill with Pacquiao, but at the same time, you're gonna get top billing, you're gonna get the higher share, pay-per-view and gate and guarantee. Floyd has every advantage possible. So at least for him, monetarily, the most opportune time to fight him. So then it just comes down to like competitively, is it going to be the same fight as 3-4 years ago, or does one guy have an advantage over the other more so now than 3-4 years ago? But I'm not going to talk about that yet because we don't know if the fucking fight is going to happen or not. I'm optimistic. If you were to ask me today, or right now, and again, I'm saying this before the Khan and Alexander fight, do I believe this fight is going to happen? Call me crazy, but I do think this fight is somehow going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. It is the second week in December. A lot of shit can happen. And even as I'm making this video, news did break that, rest in peace, Earl Hayes, former, Money Team member, and was a part of Floyd's Filthy Rich Records, tragically, killed his wife. I forgot her name. She was on the VH1 show and ended up, killing himself. And Floyd was apparently FaceTiming him during all this, or during that whole time. So you got to think, man, like Floyd's maybe fucked up in the head right now, but is it going to parlay into like the fight not happening until the end of next year? When money is involved, it's surprising what some people will do or will concede to. But we shall see. So that's just my gist. I don't want to go too crazy with it because, I mean, I'm making this video now and things can change next week and I have to make another video, but it's why I've waited a while to make it. So this is just my opinion on the situation. I'm optimistic the fight's going to happen. Too much money on the table for it to not happen. I think CBS and Showtime want to have that fight. And if the fight is made, it's a double feed, just like how it was with Lewis and Tyson. So again, this wouldn't be the first time. So, and this is a bigger money fight. Something crazy will have to happen for this not to happen. But this is boxing. So as I always say, subscribe, hit the links, let me know what you think, and if any news comes up about the fight or an official statement, you'll know I'll be here talking about it. So as I always say, subscribe, hit the links, and I'll be back with you soon.